8:24 in the morning. I don't understand. I don't understand why the day dawned. You, young lady, are the one. Whatever. But all the same, you gained the prize, which was to give up immortality for mortality. Okay. But the Dark Angel walked through the gates of heaven. The Dark Angel slaughtered Satan, rejected all his works, burnt them, and set all the captives free from hell. And then, the last moment, on the Day of Judgment, I, Mr. Mephistopheles, I took your name, said that after 42 billion years of human hell civilization, 68,000 years of human civilization, and not really awake am I. I played piano though, twice, but I could only find it once. 2 live didn't work, and I could only upload one of the films to YouTube. I'd like to apologise for my eyebrows, but they're nothing to do with me. Mine were natural, and then the man last week in Marrakesh trimmed them because he was offended. Amanda. 14 years ago last September, we went to Africa together. She had a great time. Then she went home, and I went to the mountains, help a friend, helped his dreams to come true. I don't know, not for me to judge. 2 disagreements in 20 years is not bad. I met her in the winter of 2009. I was working with horses in the Highlands on a Second World War airbase near the sea. I lived in a caravan where the goats and the rabbits used to live. I said, I don't mind living with the goats. You can't live with the goats. But the goat's sick. You can't live with a male goat. You'll stink. I don't care. The horses will. I made that last bit up. The humans would care. Pigs? No idea. Too busy throwing horse manure at the 3 eldest pigs. And the piglets I gave goat's milk. And they used to try and eat my ankle. I like the piglets. One of the stable girls knew a girl who was the manager of the nearest town's only music venue. I said, I've been a few times with my sister, with a friend, and I think by myself once. And they said, well, anytime you want tickets, I might be able to arrange you getting tickets. I said, well, funny you should say that. There's a band on called Shugal Nifty, which a friend of mine loves. She got on a mobile phone and she said, you're on the guest list free. Just go to the door and say your name and you'll get in for free. And a girl was dancing behind me all night. And she had a friend. And so we were dancing. I was near the back of the dance floor and they were the back of the dance floor. So I danced with this girl without really seeing what she looked like for 4 hours. And then in the car park, she said, "Will I see you again?" I went, "What do you mean?" She said, "We just danced for 4 hours." And she goes, "Oh, I only know the way you look from the back of your head. Thankfully, you got lovely hair. It was long, and it's short now." No, I didn't get it cut. It was radiotherapy, actually. And I said, "Well, all right." I said, "But I work with horses and live in a caravan." She goes, "You live in a caravan?" She goes, "It's the coldest winter in 50 years in the Highlands." I mean, that doesn't matter. And our first date, we went. It was American independence. Stole the land from the Indian Day, Thanksgiving, and on, we went along Loch Ness, and about a third of the way down south from Inverness. Inver means the mouth, so Inver is mouth of the River Ness, Inverness. And a third of the way down on the right hand side, we turned right, and we ended up at an American house. It was beautiful. Well, a house that Americans lived. And we had a Thanksgiving dinner, which was amazing because it meant that dinner was. I took my first date. The meal was both excellent and free, so I didn't spend any money. I can tell you about the horses. At dawn, just after dawn, I'd go and walk between the fields, and the horses would come and say morning. And I wasn't allowed to shower because horses like to smell themselves. So I wasn't allowed to shower, and I wasn't allowed to use deodorant or any smellies because the horses don't like it. Everything was for the horses. Horses are like calm nature, so they're like me. I moved in with Amanda. I liked her. She was brilliant from the get-go. She danced like a maniac for 4 hours. I don't even think she had a drink. Not an alcoholic drink anyway. And then she got a speeding ticket up the carriageway from the armpit of Scotland. And that night, she was telling me I was staying at her house sometime after the first date, so December 2009, I think. Maybe 2007. I think 9. And she invited me to move into a spare room. But before that, I started to feel something for her. Something powerful and not usual. She was telling me about a friend from university in the 80s in Edinburgh who used to go out with a Tory. Never date a Tory. I do know his name. I've met him. So, one night, the gang was going to a gig, early 80s independent gig. And they went round to this girl's house. She had coloured hair and probably looked like a goth. Some say she looked like a teddy bear. And she just looked at 20 friends, boys and girls, dressed for the party and went, "I'm not feeling it." And they were like, "What?" She said, "I'm not feeling it. I'm not going to the gig tonight. And I don't really want 15 of you partying afterwards. So, have a good night." Here's £1 for a drink on me. And I'll see you next week at college, university. And they were a bit miffed. But presumably the girls were like, look, she's being serious. Off. £1 would probably bought about 10 or 12 drinks. Maybe more. And just tell me this story about this girl called Nikki. And I'm thinking to myself, story sounds awfully familiar. Sounds like cousin Nicola. And I said, you know this Nikki? She really called Nicola? Yeah. She's from Airdrie? Yeah. Nicola Donnelly? She said, yeah. It was on the news, wasn't it? She said, yeah. There was a gas explosion in the morning. She said we all would have died. She saved everyone's life, except her own. I think it was the gas leak that was causing the sickness. She was my cousin. I served the altar at the funeral with my brother Michael. He was the boss. And I was like, wow, that's a bond. She was at the funeral, which meant when she was about 19 and I was about 11, 12, we met. And I thought, well, let's give this girl a fair chance. I lived with her for 2 years. After a year, I said, look, I've applied to be a nurse because no one's interested in me being a teacher. If I get a place in university in a year's time, I'll go and study to be a nurse like my mum. And if I don't, I'm going to Africa to see if I can help a friend's dream come true since mine can't. I said I can leave you now, or I can leave you in September. You choose. She said, do you mind if I pick a place to be between now and you leave? I went, no, if that's what you want. So we moved to a place called Tom Doon. Madonna tried to buy the hotel, but when they said, we can't make the road private because it's the only road from Fort William to the Carlock House that isn't a motorway type thing. I said she's my last girlfriend for so long. I think, she is my last girlfriend. Why? Because it's either ask me to marry me or go away. Why? I don't know. I'm an all-nothing kind of guy. Give me some death. Give me some marriage. I don't actually like the idea of stood up in front of people saying I do. How tall is tall?